the strait's going to be open to everybody.
And who would control it?
It's international waters. Nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it.
Fresh American strikes have reignited fears that the fragile Iran ceasefire may already be collapsing. Trump's warning on Hormuz turned into action as U.S. forces launched overnight strikes targeting Iranian-linked threats. Just hours after Trump vowed Hormuz would stay open, U.S. forces struck fresh targets inside Iran again. Amid reports of an Iran-Oman Hormuz arrangement, Trump appears increasingly determined to reassert American pressure militarily. Fresh U.S. strikes reportedly targeted a suspected Iranian military site overnight as tensions continue escalating across the Gulf region. American officials claimed the targeted Iranian site posed a direct threat to U.S. forces and shipping through Hormuz. Reuters reported the latest American military action on May 27, citing a senior official speaking anonymously about the operation. The fresh strikes came despite a fragile ceasefire that had already been under severe pressure from both sides. U.S. officials also claimed multiple Iranian drones were intercepted and destroyed during the latest military operations in the region. Washington alleged the drones threatened both American military assets and commercial maritime traffic near the Strait of Hormuz. The overnight operation had not been publicly disclosed before anonymous officials confirmed details to Reuters on Wednesday. Trump insisted the Strait of Hormuz would remain open under continued American monitoring and military pressure against Iran. Notably, the United States already carried out what it called defensive strikes against Iran earlier this week. Iran accused Washington of repeatedly violating the fragile ceasefire through continued military operations and escalating regional attacks. Previous U.S. operations targeted suspected Iranian mine-laying boats and missile launch facilities near key maritime routes. CENTCOM claimed those earlier Iranian-linked targets threatened both U.S. military personnel and international shipping routes across the Gulf. Meanwhile, Iranian media reported 3 explosions near Bandar Abbas as tensions sharply escalated overnight across southern Iran. Iran activated its air defense systems for several minutes while authorities investigated the cause of the explosions near Bandar Abbas. Iran International's report said, and I quote, Iranian media reported that 3 explosions were heard east of the southern port city of Bandar Abbas at around 1:30 a.m. local time on Wednesday, adding that air defenses were activated for several minutes and that authorities are investigating the source of the sounds, unquote. U.S. officials claimed Iran launched 4 drones toward an American-linked ship near the Strait of Hormuz recently. According to Axios, U.S. forces intercepted and destroyed all 4 drones before they could strike their intended targets. The latest escalation came shortly after Trump declared that nobody would be allowed to control the Strait of Hormuz militarily. Trump made the remarks amid reports suggesting Iran and Oman were discussing a possible new framework governing Hormuz shipping routes.
Iran wants control of the Strait of Hormuz. Would you accept a short-term deal that allows Iran and Oman to control the strait? And would they have to open it immediately, or would you be open to that happening over a period of time?
No, the strait's going to be open to everybody.
And who would control it?
It's international waters. Nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it. We'll watch over it, but nobody's going to control it. That's part of the negotiation that we have. They would like to control it. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine.
Mr. President, thank you. How much economic pressure do you feel to get the Strait of Hormuz open?
Well, you have to understand, the United States has so much oil that we are an exporter of oil. So we have plenty of oil. We're very lucky. We're blessed with the greatest piece of land in the world from that standpoint, and we have more than anybody else. And now when you add Venezuela to it, we have, I think, 64% of the world's oil. And we're getting along very well with Venezuela, by the way. It's being run really beautifully. The big companies are moving in. It's going to be amazing because it's also, like us, they're very blessed in that sense. But we have natural energy that no other country has. We have more than anybody else. So it's really a world problem because most of the world doesn't have that. And we're making it available. During the closing, I don't know if you've seen some of the satellite pictures, boats, hundreds of boats lined up. It looks like, I used to say, the Long Island Expressway with cars. They're lined up and they're coming to Texas, Louisiana, they're coming to Alaska to fill up their boat, their big boat. Some of them are really big, 2 billion gallons, even bigger than that now they make them. They make them up to 4, Chris, I hear. Now they make them up to 4. The 4 are now the big ones. Used to be the ones, now it's 4 million barrels of Think of that, 4 million barrels of oil in one boat. But they're lined up and they're right now heading to Texas, and they've already filled up and they've gone back. In addition to that, you have a lot of boats, you have about 1,500 boats in the strait wanting to get out, and at the right time we'll release them.
But the American people, sir, are seeing higher gas prices.
Yeah, they
It's
are.
come down a little bit, but it's still $4.
No, it's come down. Oh, it'll come down a lot. It'll come down to where it was before. We had it when I was in Iowa. We had we're driving by and we saw gas stations, $1.90 a gallon, $1.85, $1.87 were the three that we saw. We had it down in some places below. Now we can't help but California where they charge so much tax that you lower it and they charge tax. They've got to straighten the act out in California, but we had gasoline down to a very low number. I think we'll be hitting that number shortly after that whole excursion ends.
Does that give you more urgency?
But regardless of anything, as Marco said better than anybody can say it, you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. They would use it instantly. They wouldn't think about it. They would use it instantly. I've gotten to know them. They would use it instantly.
Does that give you more urgency, Mr. President? You've said that you're in no rush to make a deal, but with gas prices that are still high across the country, people are paying more for travel. Does that give you more urgency to make a deal? Why doesn't it?
Well, I'll tell you the primary urgency I have. I said this, it wasn't covered properly, but the primary urgency is that we can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. But at the same time, we have a tremendous amount of oil, gas, coal. We have tremendous amounts of energy. We're blessed with something very special. Those prices are going to come down. They're going to come down fast. I think that you'll see, actually, Todd, I think you're going to see lower prices that we had even before we did this. Now, I knew there'd be an increase. I said, we have a choice. We don't have to do anything. And in 2 years or 1 year or 2 months, because Iran would have had if we didn't hit them with the B-2 bombers, Iran would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks from that date because they were ready to go. And if they had a nuclear weapon, it would have been used already. It also would have been used had I not terminated the Obama deal, the Iran nuclear deal, as we call it. That was in my first term. Had I not terminated that, they would have had a nuclear weapon a long time ago. I would say it was a guarantee that it would have been used. And it would have blown up Israel. It would have blown up the entire Middle East. And that's never going to happen.
Iran said on May 27th that it has received an initial, unofficial U.S. draft framework aimed at ending the ongoing conflict and stabilizing the region. The draft reportedly lays out steps to reopen the Strait of Hormuz to normal commercial trade, restoring a key global energy artery. Tehran has claimed that, under this framework, commercial shipping traffic through Hormuz would return to pre-war levels within about 1 month. The proposal is said to require Washington to end its naval blockade on Iran as part of the de-escalation measures. Under the reported terms, the United States would also withdraw military forces from areas surrounding Iranian territory, easing direct pressure on Iran's borders. Iranian state television has emphasized that military vessels are excluded from the proposed Hormuz framework, focusing the deal on commercial shipping. According to the outline, Iran and Oman would jointly manage and coordinate shipping through the strategic strait, giving both capitals a central role. Tehran has stressed that no part of this draft agreement has been finalized yet, describing it as a work in progress. Iranian officials say they will only act once they receive tangible verification from the US, insisting on concrete steps rather than promises. State media in Iran has framed the document as an early memorandum of understanding style framework, not a binding treaty at this stage. Reports suggest the draft could evolve into a broader, more detailed agreement within roughly 60 days if talks make headway. If finalized, the deal could reportedly be endorsed via a United Nations Security Council resolution, giving it international backing. The Strait of Hormuz remains one of the world's most critical global energy choke points, making any framework governing it strategically significant. This reported framework has emerged in the context of ongoing indirect negotiations aimed at ending wider regional hostilities and reducing the risk of further escalation.